I mean, what's up, everybody? Hey, guys, Guy here from College Park, Maryland, hotel. Friday night, where it's always hot on the tube, and just needed to get the official, just needed to get on the record. I was sitting today in some meetings at the Maryland football facility before Maryland, Iowa tomorrow on Big Ten Network, and I get a text from producer Connor Collins. He's like, "Hey, man, you really think Brock's out?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" So me, I get on my phone, start looking at stuff, texting. And at that point, it was at that point, the only thing that was out there was he's not out, they're warming up, he walk through whatever, he's not participating, which is an awful sign. And I knew immediately if he's out, he's out. If he's not there, he's out. I go to all these football walkthroughs. Like I was at one tonight at the Maryland facility. The people who aren't participating in that don't play in the game. Now that's Saturday, so they're a day ahead. But it's the first time I've thought like they're 5-5. Seattle's 5-5. The Rams are 5-5. Arizona 6-4. Arizona plays Seattle this week, so either Arizona gets to 7-4 or Seattle gets to 6-5. The Rams play the Eagles this week, so somebody's got to lose in this division, but that means somebody's going to win in this division. So that means Seattle's either a half game better than the Niners or Arizona is a game and a half better than the Niners. But the division, like uh, you just think and go, they had a shot against Green Bay. Things were bad, and they had some heartbreaking losses, some close losses. They'd shot themselves in the foot a bunch. Like all this stuff had gone wrong. Things were bad, but they had Brock Purdy. They had Nick Bosa. They were going to go to Green Bay. They were the underdogs. Now it makes sense. Early in the week, the Niners at one point opened as 2.5 point favorites. Then they were 2.5 point underdogs several days ago. Like it happened fast. Like what is going on here? Really, before the thing with Brock looked like it was going to keep him out. So Vegas, like they knew that it was potentially very serious. And so today was the first. Like, are the wheels about to fall off this thing? Not because there's not buy-in, not because Kyle sucks, not because, but just because they don't have enough guy. Like they run out of guys. Not enough guys. Their quarterback gets hurt. Their quarterback. And I like watching what Kyle said. There's no. I don't know if he's gonna be back against Buffalo. Like I don't read this as maybe you will, but I don't read it as don't worry, it's fine. It just needs a week. Like anytime George Kittle has a hamstring, you're like, all right, he'll be back in 2 weeks. It's not always the case, but when Debo has something crops up with Debo. Debo's got a shoulder. It's all right. He's out this game or this week, and then he'll be back the next week or in 2 weeks. Maybe that'll happen with Brock. I hope it happens with Brock that he returns because I know some of you are like tinky tank, time to tinkle. Um, I want to see him play in the snow. It's 30 degrees outside right now and sleeting. Well, it's actually 40. Feels like 30 is what it says. Sleeting. It's like thick, frozen drops falling from the sky here in College Park, Maryland. I want to see him play in that. I want to see him play in the snow. I want to see him play in that. Um, like let's get November football. Let's get December football. And I don't know about January. Let's get December football. You talk about paying a guy and Florio's thing. Should they pay him? Should he hold out before the playoffs? Right? All that stuff. And now this is where all those BS losses really bite you. Like everybody gets guys hurt, quarterbacks, we see backups. You hope you've got enough of a equity built up, not like actual schedule equity, like wins. You have wins. so you can overcome the inevitable of the NFL, which is injuries. But one thing that was interesting, I did the conversation with Ted Wynn earlier in the week, and we talked about, if you haven't seen it, but everyone's probably been a part of that discussion, whether you watch that exact video or not. By the way, I'm sitting here with my trusty board for the football game tomorrow. There it is. Yep, Iowa, Maryland. But I was talking to a coach, an offensive coach, and one thing about this, and one thing he said was that like all these Shanahan teams operate this way. And he mentioned a Shanahan team, the Shanahan tree team that last year did not. He said they not we. He said they did not change the protection once at the line of scrimmage. They won a bunch of games. And then he said, but not but. He didn't say but. He just said, when you throw hot, you're throwing a lot of times you're throwing, not always, but you are sometimes throwing into a defender, right? If you are like replacing where the blitzer came from, you might be throwing into a guy whose arms are up. And being a taller quarterback helps you throw hot because you're throwing over somebody. And so we don't know, did Brock get hurt? And this is a separate conversation, obviously, but did Brock get hurt on the ball where he gets hit and the ball goes up in the air? That seems like that'd be a reasonable guess. If somebody specified it and we know for sure, that I missed that because I've been in this little college football bubble today. But that stuff comes up sometimes, and this is a guy who's had a surgery now. How does he recover from this injury? Obviously, he did not have to leave the game the way he had to leave the Eagles game, so it's not the same thing. But you're just thinking about, there's so much unknown, and you're just connecting all these dots, and some of them will turn out to be connected, and some of them won't. But it's weird. Every time I look at like the tipped pass data, it's normal, but man, it feels like there's a lot of it. But quarterbacks get hit. I mean, we watch this guy all the time. Quarterbacks get drilled a lot. No Sammy Dimes, Brandon Allen. If you don't know anything, if you are interested in Brandon, I did an interview on the YouTube channel. You should just type in Brandon Allen's name and go to this channel that you're on, type in Brandon Allen. I did like a 20-minute interview with Brandon Allen before the Super Bowl last year, from Vegas. And I think it's good. So if you want to go hear some Brandon Allen, just type in Brandon Allen's name on the YouTube and check it out. Because he knows these offenses so well. I mean, he was with McVay, he was with Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, so he knows where to go, when to go there. What is this game going to look like? I think it's very possible. Do we see Dobbs a little bit? Just because one guy's starting doesn't mean he gets the whole game. Although I think that's usually Kyle's preference. Like Kyle picks one guy and goes with them. But since they can have different skill sets because Dobbs can move. We'll see how they're protecting, but if they get a pass rush, all that stuff. Big game for the Niner defense. Big game for everybody, but it's just now Kyle's done some winning with backup quarterbacks, but it's when the bar is lower. You have bad team, bad quarterback. Oh, you go win six games, like, oh, that's impressive. You go win 5 games, like, good job. But better attack this with an enthusiasm known only to Jameis Winston. Aziz Haberman, sir, Brock might be making a sound business decision by not risking aggravation because of an impending payday, which will start at $50 million. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if that's what's happening there. I think he was surprised that after some rest, it wasn't much better when it came time to throw. Uh, David says, Brian Greasy had Garoppolo looking better. Hopefully, he has Allen ready to go also. It's not that you can't win with a backup or that you can't win a game with Brandon Allen. I think what makes it tough is you're playing in Green Bay in the elements. If you were playing at home and it was nice, I feel a little bit differently. My thing with backup quarterbacks is always you're not picking a backup quarterback that can go win you the division. They're backup quarterbacks for a reason. The job of backup quarterback is to help the starter, like be trustworthy, be able to assist sideline, be able to assist meetings in the week, be a guy that the starter can trust and that the head coach can trust. And if you have to play him for 3 games, 2 games, make him win you one. Like you got to pay with the backup for 2. Can you win one? Can you be a 500 team with a backup? I think that's success. So, uh, it's not that they can't beat the Green Bay Packers with their backup quarterback. Having Bosa out, it's not bigger, and nothing is just as big as the quarterback. But you go back and look, all the points last week came with Bosa off the field on defense. So it's not just Brock, it's Bosa also. But anyway, the point is, to me, it's about where the game is, the temperature, the snow. Green Bay forecast. As someone who's in the cold right now, 44 degrees in Green Bay, no snow. Is it going to be okay? I mean, they got to plan it too. But Goody says, College Park, did you eat the crab dip? Sure did. Just headed to dinner. Barry says the Niners should not have decked off earlier in the year with pathetic losses to an injured Rams team and a Cardinals team. This is what they get now. Yeah. Kid Icarus team is still hungover from the Super Bowl. Team has been going through the motions all season. First game was their best and probably was all adrenaline. So Sunday will be no different. I don't think they've been going through the motions. I was texting with a buddy of mine, Danny, who said, I wish I can't pull up the text right now, but he said, this feels like the last year for the Warriors right now with the Niners. And then Klay Thompson's gone and they got to do a refresh and they're actually a pretty energetic team and all that. I think when you're not scoring touchdowns, you look unenergized because every time we look at you, you're dejected. I equate it to a baseball team. Baseball teams that don't score runs or don't get a bunch of hits, or baseball teams that don't have great offenses or in slumps, look unenergized and dejected because when you watch them, what you see is them jogging down the first base line or walking back to the dugout after a strikeout. And so they got no energy. Well, they're not putting themselves in energy positions. No one's putting one in the gap and then legging out a double. And when you're not scoring touchdowns, you're not celebrating. You're just doing all of this. So I'm not saying that's not a factor. Like they've played a lot of games. They got a lot of mileage. I do think sometimes losing initially, like you lose the first Super Bowl, and it can inspire you. Like we're this close. You lose another one, and you know how hard it was to get there, and then you know how hard it is to get back, and then you're like, well, the odds are we weren't going to get back a second time. How are we going to do this again? But Brock hadn't lost 2 Super Bowls. There's plenty of guys that hadn't lost 2 Super Bowls. Bosa did. Debo did. But there's plenty of guys that didn't. Trent did. Who don't have they've lost 2 now, so they're uninspired or whatever. So I don't dismiss that because I think there's something really mentally draining and real to it. And I saw somebody point out that they think Kansas City's going through it too. That they're not, but they're 9-1. They're playing Carolina tomorrow. They're going to be 10-1 or Sunday. So Justin says if we lose to Green Bay, tank, and tank. Get healthy, have another huge draft class and a strong 25. CMC didn't. Good call, Jackie. Mad Predator says, I have a feeling it's not just shoulder soreness, even though they say the MRI was good. I think there's something they're not telling us as usual. Travis, we cooked. Will be a miracle to pull off a game in Green Bay. Then even more so against the Bills and Lions. Yeah, I mean, Lions are later, Bills are next week. I am this is gonna sound annoying. I'm gonna to some of you sound annoying right now. And I understand that it sounds annoying. And sometimes I'm intentionally annoying, but I'm not trying to be intentionally annoying here. I mean this sincerely. I love the big picture. Like, where does this fit into the month, into the divisional race, into the conference race? Is this quarterback really your guy for the next 5 years? What will Kittle, how will Kittle age? How will Jennings develop? All of that stuff from a topic, I love that stuff. And also, the most fun of all of this is the games. And maybe we're sitting here Sunday and it was just a brutal game to watch. That's possible. And they don't move the ball and they can't complete passes and their defense can't get stops and they just look totally dejected. And as bad as you feel right now, you feel worse. That's possible. I mean, we've had a number of those where you think, well, they can't look like that again. And then something happens. And you go, well, that Rams game was bad. It can't get, and then the Cardinals game, that was bad. It can't get, and then last week, you're like, is this really? But all of that said, again, this is the part that's annoying now. I'm still excited to watch. I'm going to turn on Niners Packers, and we all think they're going to get drilled, or at least they're going to lose. They might get drilled, but that they're going to lose, and they might, but they might not. And that's you sound like a rube saying that, or you sound naive. I'm not being naive to the fact that they're probably going to lose this game, and it's probably going to look bad. But I don't know it, so I'm going to turn on. I'm excited. It's like we only get so many games. That's my point. We only get so many games, so I'll worry about the Lions game and the Bills game next week, and they lose this game, and Seattle win. Whatever happens, we'll be talking about the math of the division and what's next for Brock and all that. And if it goes sideways and goes bad, then it goes sideways and it goes bad. Did someone say it already? It already has gone sideways. It definitely has been sideways. This whole thing's been sideways. But I'm going to get up tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. I'm going to go call this Iowa Maryland game on Big Ten Network. I'm excited about that. I'm going to get to the airport. I'm going to hop on a plane. I'm going to watch some games. Just chill. Fly home. Get home Saturday night. Wake up Sunday. Make some coffee. And then I'm going to fucking settle in and watch Niners Packers in the like. And then it may be a disaster. But until I know that it's I'm still kind of excited to watch the game. That's all. That's not a big picture thought. If they lose a bunch of games, then we'll get to the draft in the offseason and Brock Purdy contract negotiation and all that stuff. But when you have games, my experience is you shouldn't skip games. That's all. That's all. John Jennings is sitting there right now going like, boy, it's going to be tough, Detroit. So I respect him. Let's see. Let's see. That's all. That's not, and that's not optimism. Don't mistake that for optimism. That's just a person who enjoys the games. So I'm excited for the games, man. You're not going to get a version of me that's not excited. You get that in the preseason. But I think we'll see. Joe asked, sorry I'm late, but don't you think I think we're going to see some. It's not really Kyle's thing, but kind of think we might see some Dobbs. So, all right, I got to roll. That's a rare Friday night 20 from the road, and I will catch y'all soon at some point. I mean, Sunday. Let something happen Saturday. Somebody else is out. Oh, well, I'll see you Saturday if you want to watch Big Ten Network. Iowa, Maryland, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Next week, but well, I don't know if it's been next week. I'm doing UCLA, Fresno State, my alma mater. That's Fresno State and then UCLA. Excited about that. Anyway, okay. That's not what you came here for, but I'll share it. Hey, by the way, Prize Picks code guy. I've been playing a ton. I hit a 4-player lineup on more or less rebounds. Support the show. If you're thinking about using Prize Picks, holidays coming up. It's a great hang on Thanksgiving. You will love to play Prize Picks on Thanksgiving. Go to Prize Picks, download the app, or use the link in the description. Use the code GUY, G-U-Y, just the way I spell it for the baristas. They're like, G-U-I? I'm like, no, G-U-Y. Use the code GUY, make a $5 lineup. You will get $50 into your account immediately. And yeah, I'm on Prize Picks nonstop. I love it. So Prize Picks code GUY, $5 lineup. Put $5 in. That's all you got to put in. Make a lineup, immediately get $50 into your account. Indiana, Ohio State's tomorrow. UCLA, USC is tomorrow night. Army, Notre Dame is tomorrow. Indiana, Ohio State's on at the same time as my game. But I will watch that later, keep an eye on it, that sort of thing. Okay.